As India prepares for the 2024 general election, its often strained sociocultural equations and viciously fractious politics are expected to come under increasing media scrutiny. Although no date has yet been announced for the parliamentary election, they may take place in the April May 2024 timeline. In the meantime, elections to five state legislatures in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Telangana, and Mizoram are being watched closely for signs of the electoral mood that may presage the outcome in 2024. Some 160 million voters in these five states are eligible to vote, representing over a sixth of the country's overall electorate. The number is large enough to signal prospects for Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Bharatiya Janata Party and its allies known as the National Democratic Alliance or NDA on the one side, and the newly formed opposition alliance called the Indian National Development Inclusive Alliance or India, where the Indian National Congress is the dominant presence on the other. To understand the broad contours of the fight, Mayank Shah report spoke to Ashutosh, a well-known broadcast journalist, columnist and writer who for a brief period pursued a political career himself as a prominent member of the Aam Aadmi Party, which runs two governments in Delhi and Punjab. Ashutosh now is the co-founder of a news and analysis channel in Hindi called Satya Hindi on YouTube, which has lately gained considerable viewership. Ashutosh. Ashutosh, welcome to Mayank Shah Report. It's a great pleasure to have you.
Thank you. Thank you, man.
First, a broad question. How would you describe India's overall political scene? I know there are far too many variables in India, but if you were to broadly divide between the BJP ND on one side and the New India Alliance on the other side, what jumps out at you, especially barely 6 to 9 months before the 2024 general elections?
See, this is India today is very, very polarized today, and there are very clearly defined camps. These camps are not only between the political parties but also within families also. So that has never been the case earlier before 2014. I think when the history of the post 2014 will be written and Modi's time will be analyzed and assessed, this will be the most underlying theme: the polarization of societies on the communal lines, on the religious lines. And these are the basic benchmark of today's politics. And within that context, India Alliance and BJP, that is India Alliance, they are even, as of now, they're evenly poised, in my opinion. And this has happened thanks to Mr. Narendra Modi himself, because the way he has unleashed the central investigating agencies, irrespective of political parties in opposition. It is because of that all the political parties, they've realized over a period of time, and they took rather late, because I thought that they should have realized much earlier, but they took rather late. They took almost 8.5 years to realize that if they remain divided in different camps, if they are not united, and if they are not unitedly fighting BJP led by Narendra Modi, then probably in a near future, the party will not exist. The leaders will end up in jail, and there will be no opposition. When I'm talking to you, you can see clear signs that how Bhupesh Baghel is targeted, and he's a powerful chief minister in Chhattisgarh. He's targeted. ED is unleashed. In Rajasthan, where election is happening, the Mukhyamantri Ashok Gehlot's son is being summoned by the ED. The Congress party president's two sons were summoned by the ED. And in Madhya Pradesh, the Kamalnath has been facing, and his relatives have been facing for the last many years. So it's and I keep calling Narendra Modi as a gladiator. Gladiator in the sense that for him, every election is a matter of life and death, as if he's fighting for his life. So he doesn't mince words. He doesn't shy away from using any instrument of politics, and he's not even scared that what the opposition is going to say, how the newspapers are going to write, how the commentator will judge him in history. His only ambition is to win election come what may. I think it is this ambition to win election at any cost and communal polarization. These are the two defining line which defines the politics of today.
From the way you're describing, and I've spent about a decade in India in the 1990s, Delhi especially, uh, there has not been any figure of this sort in Indian history, with maybe a very minor exception of Indira Gandhi, but it wasn't at this scale in terms of absolutely flaming ambition to be around all the time and in a relentlessly campaign mode 24/7.
Uh, Sometimes we do compare Mr. Narendra Modi with Indira Gandhi. I think there are streaks, there are similarities between these two big leaders, and both are very strong-willed leaders, in a way polarizing leaders also, and they don't worship power. They both worship power. For them, power is the most defining feature. But I could understand, because from where it was coming to Mrs. Gandhi, because Mrs. Gandhi, when she was elected as the party president, not as elected as the parliamentary party leader, as a prime minister by the Congress party, at that point of time, Mrs. Gandhi was not a very confident person. I remember I read somewhere that Mrs. Gandhi was planning to go to London. Basically, she wanted to retire and she wanted to lead a normal life. But Lal Bahadur Shastri was the prime minister. Then he died. So he was chosen not because she was a very strong personality, but she was chosen because she was viewed as a weak person, and that's how the opposition is defined. Ramana Loya has clearly told him he's a gungi gudiya. She doesn't speak. So coming from there, the sense of insecurity which she has faced, so she became a very centralizing figure. She doubted everyone's loyalty. But Mr. Narendra Modi, all through, has been a very powerful leader. Before coming to Delhi, he was he was rated as a very powerful leader, even Gujarat, and he won three elections, one after another. So it's not that these centralizing tendencies in him is coming from some kind of sense of insecurity. No, I don't believe that. But I think this is how his personality is made of. You remember when Ashish Nandi, the great sociologist and psychologist, after interviewing Narendra Modi, he said, I had seen a classic fascist tendencies in him. And that was much before he became the chief minister of Gujarat. And so now he's a prime minister. So I think the personality of a very centralizing character is a defining line within him. And then the topping is that he's a very committed ideological person also. He comes from RSS. He belongs to the cadre of RSS, and he was loaned to BJP long back. So he imbibes all those virtues, or whatever you want to call them. And the RSS ideology is basically it's not a democratic ideology, what I could perceive. And within the RSS framework of things, the leader's word is the final word. You don't differ with your leader, and that is how they call it the ek chalak anuvartita. Follow your leader. So once the leader has taken a decision, everybody has to follow. I think Mr. Modi has taken that literally. So within the party, he is a very powerful leader, and nobody can question me. Or if anybody question, he will not survive. Or she will not. That is for sure. So I think the way the comparison between Mrs. Gandhi and Narendra Modi is comparable. But Mrs. Gandhi was not ideologically such a driven party. She didn't come from RSS, and her party also was not very rigidly defined ideology. It was basically a few stray thoughts which could be called as the liberal thoughts. And later on in her life, she was surrounded by leftists, and that's how the party, Mrs. Gandhi, took a left turn. But in the post 1980, she also took a right turn slightly. Uh, so, in my opinion, Mr. Modi is a very well manufactured product of an industry called RSS, and he's an ideal, perfect product of that thing, and that's what he exhibits. He will not. I don't see anything. I don't believe that he believes in a concept of democracy. He doesn't, within the party itself and outside party also, and that's why he doesn't want anybody to differ with him, to defy him, and anybody who does it has to face his ire. That's where the comparison between Mr. Narendra Modi and Indira Gandhi ends, in my opinion.
To the extent that, I happen to come from Ahmedabad. I'm very familiar with Gujarat politics. Uh, I have not seen any leader in my career who is so completely driven by all politicians have self-belief. That's their fuel. But to the extent of self-belief that Mr. Modi has, and he has displayed since his Gujarat days, is astonishing. I find that even from the Gujarat days, the RSS BJP complex was almost incidental to his career. It's generally him, driven by Mr. Modi's whatever inner self is. How do you deal with someone like that? And I'm sure the politicians and political parties are finding it very difficult to take on it.
I think it's very, very difficult. Frankly speaking, it's nobody, frankly, knows that how to deal with him. And within the RSS itself, they are finding it very difficult to deal with him. And I know for fact because I know a few of the top leaders in the RSS, and they also are very uncomfortable the way he works. And in fact, when he was the chief minister of Gujarat, he almost finished RSS from the Gujarat. And the RSS is a kind of organization that they don't let any chief minister or the prime minister just leave him free. Even Atal Bihari Vajpayee has a tough time dealing with the RSS, and Atal Bihari Vajpayee was called all kinds of names by the RSS. But the surprisingly is Narendra Modi knows how to deal with RSS, and if and that's when he was the chief minister of Gujarat, even the Vishwa Hindu Parishad, the Bajrang Dal, and the RSS, even his good friend Praveen Togadia and Sanjay Joshi. Anybody who differed with him was thrown out. And today, you don't know where the Sanjay Joshi is. Today, you do not know where the Praveen Togadia is. And at that point of time, when he was the chief minister, nobody knew where the RSS leadership is there in Gujarat. So RSS is also very uncomfortable the way he's dealing. And because they think that their project, the RSS project, is the Hindu unity. Their project is Hindu unity. And they think that in the larger context of the Indian history, the Hindu unity is paramount. And that's where Mr. Narendra Modi differs with them, because for Narendra Modi, winning next election is most important, and to win next election, he can go to any extent. RSS says winning election is important, but not the ultimate goal. Mr. Modi says the winning election is the most important thing. So there is a difference of approach also. But RSS top leadership is very uncomfortable with him. Within the BJP, the leaders are very uncomfortable with him. But since he's winning elections, so nobody can say anything. I dread if he loses election in 2024 or any time in future, and then how many leaders which are today showing loyalty to him will stand up to him for his cause. Because Atal Bihari Vajpayee and Lalkis Advani were leaders who were loved by cadre. People had differences with them, but they knew that. But with Mr. Narendra Modi, I'm not sure how many top leaders, how much cadre loves him. They basically are scared of him, so they don't open their mouth. They don't say anything. Even they are scared of talking to me, a person like you on phone who has been little bit critical of Mr. Narendra. That's the situation. So in my opinion, it's difficult to deal with him. And as long as he's winning elections, he's there. But if he doesn't manage to win majority numbers, then he will certainly be in trouble.
Speaking of winning elections, I want to come down to the nuts and bolts of 2019. BJP got 37.4% of vote. Of the 912 million eligible voters, about 67% voted, which is say about 225, of which 37.4 comes to 225 million people. The idea that 225 million people have set the direction for the country is that astonishing, isn't that?
Yeah, certainly, but unfortunately, that's how we have devised our the parliamentary system. This is based on the first post pass system, and I keep telling my friend that look, Mr. Narendra Modi, the narrative is that he's very powerful. The narrative is that the majority of the people love him and they like him. But the problem is that whenever the Congress came into the power, whenever the Congress managed to get majority at at the center, they always had 40% plus votes. If I remember, it's maybe 42%, 43%, 44%. But Narendra Modi became the prime minister in 2014, just having 31% of the vote share. So imagine, even 31% within the first power pass system is a very is in minority in much, and he improved by 6%. So in that sense, that's how he is, and that's why I believe and I think that he is vulnerable in 2024, because if he loses 2-3% vote share, then will he be able to manage majority? I do not know, because his party is almost absent in Tamil Nadu, in Kerala, in Telangana, in Andhra Pradesh, and the four coastal areas. He's almost absent. And then in Odisha, the party is not doing very well. In Bengal, party is on a decline. In Bihar, the party will find it difficult to get the same numbers which they got in 2019. So even if he loses by 2-3%, he will be in trouble. But I agree with you and completely agree with you that it's a hyperbolic to say that the majority of Indians like him. But what is the most important thing is that the way he has polarized society in every nook and corner of the country, except in the South India, you will find people who will fight, who will fight for him, and that is a situation. He almost have a cult. He almost has a cult following. Which means that the people who are following him, they are not willing to listen to you. They can go to any extent. They can. I'm not sure whether the people can kill, but there was a situation in 2015-16 when the people would have done that also, and it was really scary to criticize him publicly. So
Right.
maybe in the larger context, his supporters are in minority, and he is still in the minority politically speaking. But the kind of energy he has unleashed to a section of the society, basically that defines Narendra Modi, and basically that's how the Indian politics today stands.
Speaking of the energy that he has infused, the right wing of politics generally across the world is known to vote its ideological, cultural convictions or prejudices or predilections. That is not necessarily the case with the left liberal, which is a very amorphous group of people. I mean, if you look at the BJP on the one side and in the India Alliance on the other, it's difficult to put a finger on the India Alliance where exactly it is. Do you think that's going to be a major challenge still for the alliance, India Alliance, given that the clarity is not yet very obvious to people?
Uh, See, my answer is slightly different. I think there is a clarity within the opposition. There's a very they all have reached to the consensus that if Narendra Modi stays as a prime minister for another 5 years, then there is no future for them. And it is this understanding of Narendra Modi and the BJP, basically Narendra Modi. They might not have problem with the BJP, but they have a serious problem with Narendra Modi because they don't know how to deal with him. And he doesn't believe in any kind of political courtesies. Like Atal Bihari Vajpayee, Sonia Gandhi, they used to fight with each other, but there was a personal respect for each other. There was a mutual respect. Today there is no mutual respect between the ruling party and the other political party, and it flows. That's one reason that when you watch a TV channel, TV debates in India, how the BJP spokesperson, they attack their opponent, and they mince no words. So I think There is a clarity within the India alliance, and that the clarity is that if this man is coming back in 2024, then we all have to pack our bags and have to retire. Uh, Having said that, there is a problem. There's no doubt there is a problem. The problem is, and one of the serious problem is that the most of these political parties, they're born and brought up in an anti-Congress environment. Let's not forget that. So within in their upbringing, they are anti-Congress. In their nature, they are anti-Congress. But now situation has come so far that they have no other option than to align with the Congress, because they know that to defeat Narendra Modi, to defeat Bharatiya Janata Party, they can't do it without BJP, without Congress. And the Congress is the principal political party, and the Congress commands a lot of footprints across India. Even they are non-existent in Tamil Nadu up to certain extent, but you can get a Congress work over there. In Kerala, they are very powerful. In Telangana, suddenly they have emerged as a very strong force. In Andhra Pradesh, they are there. In Karnataka, they have emerged as a very strong force. In North India, Mr. Narendra Modi might be sweeping all the elections, has swept 2014, 2019, and the Congress drew a blank. But in every state, the Congress has 40% or 38% vote share, which is not a joke for any political party. And that's how you look at the assembly election in 2018. Congress could win Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh. It won all three states. And again, this time also out of the 5 states, there is a possibility that they can win 3 states. So they have a very strong presence. So the opposition political parties, they know that without Congress party, they can't have a united opposition and who can take on Narendra Modi. So they have no other option than to go with the Congress party. But because of the basic nature, these contradictions keep coming up. Someday you will find Akhilesh Yadav criticizing Congress party, someday Congress party criticizing some Akhilesh Yadav, someday Nitish has a problem with the Congress party. Those are there. But the glue is these central agencies and totally polarizing nature of Narendra Modi, so that they have no other option than to come together. They will come together. Mark my word. The process will hasten after 3rd of December, when the results will be out. How many states Congress win, that's immaterial. They will come together and they will have a smooth, I'm putting my neck out, a smooth seat distribution, because there's not much of a problem like earlier used to be. The Congress, like in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, there is hardly any opposition political parties, small political parties, and it's easy to manage there. The problem can come in Maharashtra, where there are 3 political parties who are together. The seat distribution can be a problem. In Bihar, there can be a problem because Janata Dal, RJD, left parties, and the Congress is there. There are 7 political parties. In Calcutta, in Bengal, I don't see any problem. So, as people and I know that many people are concerned about that, how they will come together and how the seat distribution will take place. There is a lot of infighting between them. But in my opinion, this will not be such a big issue after 3rd December. They will come together with minor glitches here and there. They will manage to hold together. That's my opinion. Because they know that if they don't hold together, then in the long run, all will be dead.
Just a couple of more questions on the politics of what's going on. I also want to pick your brain on the sociocultural ruptures that have set in. Arvind Kejriwal has been the most compelling political figure to emerge in the last decade and a half. You have known him closely. How do you see his political trajectory now?
It's very uncertain. It's very uncertain because, for one reason, because of the enforcement directorate, because if he's arrested, and in my opinion he will be arrested, so then how the party will move, because 2 of the top leaders other than Arvind Kejriwal, Sanjay Singh and Manish Sisodia, they are already in jail. So in the absence of top 3, I don't see any other leader who is acceptable to the cadre and to the party hierarchy. So the choice will be the first the first crisis will be who will be the chief minister of Delhi, because if he has to go to jail, he can't continue as the chief minister, because he can't run government from the jail. So he has to resign, and if he resigns, then who will replace him as a chief minister? That will be the problem number one. The problem number two, and which can be postponed for some time but not eternity, who will run the party? Like, who will be the national convener in his absence? And in both the cases, I don't see anybody who can replace him. Uh, I could see that Bhagwant Mann can be one contender to be the national convener of Aam Aadmi Party, because now he has gained the stature. He's a chief minister of a bigger state like Punjab, and he's pretty smoothly running the government over there. He's hugely popular in Punjab. But as a phenomenon, what is the future for Aam Aadmi Party? I keep saying that this is a very strange phenomenon, because this Aam Aadmi Party has emerged from very strange phenomena, and it remains to be very strange. Yesterday only, I read in the newspaper that he said that I am willing to support Narendra Modi if he takes action against his friend Adani. That means there is no ideological barrier between him and the BJP. Otherwise, Congress can never say that they are willing to support BJP if he cracks down on corruption, because Congress knows that if it has to pursue the politics, that secular politics, and the Modi, in his opinion, pursuing communal politics, and both can't go together. But for Narendra, for Arvind Kejriwal, there is no ideological compulsion. Since there is no ideological compulsion, so he can take any route. He can go to anywhere. But the biggest problem right now with him is that he had that moral capital, which made him a phenomenon in Indian politics. Over a period of time, he's losing that moral capital. Now he's seen like any other political party, and people on the ground, they hardly find any difference between him and the BJP, between him and the Congress, between him and Akhilesh Yadav, because he's also practicing the same politics. The Arvind Kejriwal I used to know was so pompous in his utterances that why the leaders should be living in the bungalows. They should be living in the two-room flats. Why they need security? If they are people's representative, why they need security? Why you need so much money to contest elections? And in fact, in the initial days, he practiced all those. But look at him now. He's living in a mansion, and his government has spent 45 crore to rebuild his residence. He moves with almost 100 security paraphernalia, because his security is provided by the Punjab government, and his leaders are fighting to retain a Type 7 Bangalore. Imagine, and they are going to the court. So the party who used to talk about that why the leaders should be living in Bangalore, now the member of the same party, the powerful members of the party, they are going to the Supreme Court so that they could retain a Type 7 Bangalore. So right. Where is and he is flying in private jets. He's staying in a 7-star hotel in a presidential suite. How long the people will have faith in him? What is the saving grace for him right now is that he is still perceived a shade better than the rest. Like within BJP, Narendra Modi is perceived a shade better than the rest, because they know that he's a political person. He has to run a political party, so he needs money. But nobody in India, even the opponents, will not say that Narendra Modi is taking money. I think the same kind of understanding people have, that Aam Aadmi Party is also like other political parties, but they are slightly better than the rest. But if he's arrested, and if his party colleagues are convicted by court, then whether this moral capital will stay with him, I'm not very sure about it. And in his absence, the party has to show all kinds of maturity to stay afloat. Right. Because this is one political party which I can tell you from my experience that, unlike the BJP and the Congress, has absolutely no structures. There's no structure in the party. There's only one man, and everybody has to follow his dictates. So in his absence, and when there is no structure, there's no system in the party, then how the party will run, and the person who is chosen as the chief minister, the person who becomes the national convener of the party, how will he run it? Will he create a structures? So these are the questions which I'm very, I find it very difficult to predict what will be the future. But yes, as I have written in my column also, this will be Aam Aadmi Party's existential crisis. If they can get out of it, then certainly there is future for him.
It's been 5 years since you resigned from the Aam Aadmi Party. Do you think whatever misgivings that might have prompted you to leave have largely come true now?
Yes, 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 certainly, certainly, certainly. In fact, it has my misgivings are more, how to put it. Now I'm rather happy that I left Aam Aadmi Party, because what I could see them now, that has become quite big. At least when I was there, there was no private jet, there was no five-star stay, there was no presidential suite. The people were not fighting for the Type 7 Bangalows. There was a lot of innocence was still there, but I could see that the politics of India has at that point of time has started appropriating the Aam Aadmi Party and Arvind Kejriwal. It was just the beginning of being appropriated by the system. Now they have totally been appropriated. They have totally been appropriated, and this liquor policy is a reflection of that. I know that many people don't believe it, and I can't comment beyond a point. But the liquor policy, there is a lot of truth in the liquor policy. It's not that the whole case is based on untruth, or it's not that only Narendra Modi or the BJP is trying to just implicate him in a false case. I'm not buying that argument. There is a certain amount of truth, and that's why Manish Sisodia is not getting bail. It is almost 9 months, and the Supreme Court had denied that bail. Let's understand that. I know the credibility of Indian judicial system is very low these days, but Manish Sisodia not getting bail from the Supreme Court is hinting at something which
Right.
is rather sad for the party.
Right. You wrote a book called Anna 13 Days That Awakened India.
Yeah.
Was the Anna Hazare move the RSS appetizer that opened up the hunger for a decisive section of Indian electorate to go for the BJP?
See, this is a question which I've been asked many times, and I also try to answer in my book also. I never believed that this Anna movement was a creation of RSS. I never believed it. Because while doing my research, I never found that this Anna Hazare was propped up by RSS, or Arvind Kejriwal was a puppet of RSS. No, the leadership was not in the RSS hand. The leadership was autonomous, and that's why the people like Prashant Bhushan were a part of it. Though Prashant Bhushan's father had been a part of the BJP and was a treasurer in 80s when the Jansangh was transformed into BJP. But Prashant Bhushan has ideologically been left of the center, and I never witnessed anything which I could say that Anna movement was a RSS creation. But yes, what I admit is that since it became a mass movement, so RSS infiltrated, and then RSS tried to use the entire movement to discredit Congress party, or and they did. And Narendra Modi, in a way, in 2014, if he could win elections, probably the credit should go to the Anna movement, because Anna movement was a very, very powerful movement, very, very powerful moment. And in those time, no debate, no discussion. Even the private conversation used to start from the Anna and used to end with the Anna. It was that kind of a moment. It was very overwhelming moment, and its impact was magnified many, many times by the television channels. And So I agree on this point that BJP is hugely benefited uh, by by this movement. And what the what has not been witnessed then, and what I could see today is that Anna movement was not a very progressive movement in that sense. The nationalism was used, exploited. That sentiment of nationalism was hugely exploited by that moment, and which was late, which BJP built a castle on that. And then it was easier for him to transform that nationalism, which was secular in nature at that point of time, to into a Hindutva nationalism. So BJP's success lies because they used that the mass energy which was created by the Anna movement, and the sense of nationalism which became very pronounced at that point of time, to use that energy, exploited that sense of nationalism to convert that into Hindutva nationalism. And that's how the BJP is benefited today. Because I remember, if you those pictures very vividly, those videos very vividly, that if you could see that the Kiran Bedi used to come on the dais with a tricolor and used to do something like this. All kinds of patriotic songs were used to be sung over there, and every speech used to begin with Bharat Mata Ki Jai, Bharat Mata Ki Jai, Bharat Mata Ki Jai, something like that. And that was that picture, that slogans was magnified by television channels. I think that nationalism was appropriated and they converted into the Hindutva nationalism. So I agree that in the hindsight, Anna movement was the basic reason for the success of the BJP in 2014. I never believed that Narendra Modi himself has created any movement. He used those moments and became a prime minister. And yes, later he did consolidate his position in the eyes of the public, the large section of the public.
In retrospect, do you think it was a miscalculation on your part to transition from broadcast journalism to politics?
Uh, yes, you can say that. You can say that. My basic instinct was that, and this mistake I committed, I admitting for the first time. I never admitted earlier. Uh, this admission, I miscalculated twice in my student days when I was in JNU. SFI wanted me to join the SFI. AISF also wanted me to join the party. I never joined any political party then. But when I was in after the Tiananmen Chowk Square, so a new political party was formed, which was called an INSAF, Indian National Student Action Front. And I thought that this is a party which I should join, because this party looks different. This party has some fire. I joined that party, and I contested the election also. And then within 6 months, that party disappeared. And I realized that the politics which I used to abhor, the same problems are also in that party. So before I could leave that party, the party itself disappeared. So that happened in my student days.
Right.
When Anna movement was happening, I was again I thought that this is the moment which can change India. And so I was very closely watching that, and I was really very impressed with the kind of movement happening at that time, because I used to interact with, because I used to go to the Rabiela Maidan. I interacted with thousands of volunteers, and I could see a very different kind of innocence, because the politics is not innocent, but there was a innocence. There was a lot of innocence in that moment. I had seen hundreds of young boys leaving their careers in multinational companies, leaving their very flourished career in other sectors of life, and they were just there. There was so much dream in their eyes. So I thought, this is the moment. This is the moment when this is the moment I should join. And I think that the country is taking a different turn altogether. So when the proposal came that the Ahmadi Party movement not Ahmadi, but should this moment be transformed into a political party, I was of the firm opinion that a new political party should be formed. And in fact, I remember I had gone when Arvind Kejriwal has given me a call and he said, "Come, a very serious meeting is happening there. Why don't you come?" And so I had gone over there. Then he told that we are thinking in terms of whether we should form a political party. And I said, certainly you should form a political party, and there will be a lot of traction. And at that point of time, I could see that Arvind Kejriwal was in two minds. He was doubtful whether the people will accept him. I said, look, if people don't accept him, you can always go back. You are not a professional politician, you are not a career politician. So for a career politician, it's difficult to go back, but you can always go back. That option is always there. But I did not know that the politics is so powerful that it robs innocence from any face. It has and it appropriated the politics appropriated. It is such a powerful instinct. The politics is such a powerful instinct that it did not let Aam Aadmi Party remain a very innocent force for a long time.
Right.
Because ultimately, in politics, in electoral politics, everything boils down whether you are winning election or losing elections. If you are winning elections, everything is good. If you're losing election, it's very difficult to survive and sustain. So in the battle to survive and sustain, and the battle in the absence of a long-term planning that how this political party will move ahead, what will be the ideology, there was no graph per se. There's no career graph for the party. I think everything boils down whether you want to whether is winning and losing is important, and that's where the first friction started between Arvind Kejriwal and Prashant Bhushan and Yogendra Yadav, because a few candidates were chosen, and which in the opinion of Prashant Bhushan and Arvind Kejriwal were not good candidates. And the logic at that point of time is that yes, we understand that they are not good candidates, but they can win elections. So everything boils down on the winning and losing elections, and that's how once you take a step in that direction, then it was impossible to take the step back.
Right.
So yes.
Yeah. To change the gears a bit, Lal Krishna Advani famously said during the emergency that when the media was asked to bend, it crawled. These days, it seems a section of the media is asked to crawl and it licks boots. Is there any coming back from what has happened in the last 10 years?
If Lal Krishna Advani had been active in politics, he would have said they were asked to crawl, they all buried themselves. See, during emergency days, at least you know that there is a law, so you have to abide by that.
Right.
Today, nobody is telling you there is no emergency per se, but everybody has buried themselves. And I am reminded of the statement which was made by Narendra Modi. I think he has given an interview to the BBC, and when he said, "What is your regret about the 2002 riot?" He said, "I couldn't manage media." So when he became the prime minister, he knew what was his agenda. If he has to survive in politics, if he has to remain the prime minister, then come what may, he has to control media, because one of the biggest failing of Manmohan Singh government was that Manmohan Singh could not control media. And since he could not control media, so he couldn't control narrative. And since he couldn't control narrative, so the Congress has to lose election in 2014. Narendra Modi knew the power of media, and especially the television channels. So he controls his control over television channel is complete, total. There is no denying the fact. Either people are scared, or people are convinced by the ideology, or the people believe in Narendra Modi's cult. It's not that the people are they are scared only. It's not that they are fearful of him. Yes, there is last section of the media is fearful of him. There's no doubt about it. But there is also a section of the media which is convinced by the RSS ideology. They believe in RSS ideology, and they think that this is the right way to do journalism. And a section is that which is neither the left of the center, not right of the center, but they believe into the cult of Narendra Modi, and they believe that Narendra Modi is divinely ordained to make India great. They believe in that phenomenon. The right, whether they are right or wrong, that's a different thing altogether. But the fact of the matter is that today media has completely buried himself, and I don't see much of a future as of now, uh, uh, because it's very difficult. YouTube is, you can say that YouTube has a future, but how long?
Yeah.
It's based on a. It's not, the things are not in your hand. The tomorrow if the YouTube changes its policy, then all the YouTube channels are dead. You can't do
Right.
a thing.
Right.
Today we are talking, we are using this technology and talking, but the technology is in the government's hand. If the government decides to manipulate, then you are dead. So and the bigger worry is that now, whosoever comes back, whosoever is replaced by, whosoever replaces Narendra Modi, even they also know that how to control media. So
Right.
even if the India Gathbandhan, the India forms a government in 2024, I don't think that the media is going to be free. But the problem with this media today, right now, is that this media has the two major problems. One is, forget about that how they have submitted themselves to the government. Um, it's communal to the core. It has it demonizing the Muslims. So that's why there is so much poison in the society these days, and that's because of the television channel. And secondly, the lot of facts are manipulated. There is no research, and it's deliberately done. It's deliberately done. Like what happened with the Fox News anchor, I'm forgetting his name, the Carlson.
Yeah.
Like he was accused of manipulating facts and fictionalizing facts. So these TV channels, they are also fictionalizing facts. I hope that once this government is not there, then probably the media will not be free, but at least the demonization of Muslims and fictionalization of facts will not be there.
Right.
As long as they base their stories on the real facts, I have no problems with that, because the rest of the left of the media and the left of the center media and the right of the center media, they both in a democracy has a right to exist. But if media with the left of the center media, the right of the center media, if they manipulate facts, fictionalize facts, demonize a particular community, then it's a serious issue. Unfortunately, that's the case now.
Yeah. Just last couple of things. How do you look
Yeah.
at someone like Ravish Kumar in the context of what you just said?
I think he has shown path to many journalists, because he had the audacity to say what he wanted to say. Not that he has done some great investigative journalism, but at a point when nobody was saying anything, nobody was asking questions, he had the courage to question the prime minister and the party, and
Sorry
that's.
to interrupt. As an old-fashioned print journalist, Ashutosh, this is a given. I mean, I've grown up, and I'm sure a lot of people of my generation have grown up in the media. I'm saying, doing precisely that. It's not a virtue that you are able to ask tough questions. It's a given. It's your job to do it, right? So why is it being celebrated with such gusto?
It is celebrated because nobody was asking questions there. All the top journalists of the country in television channel. I'm not talking about the print. The print, there was still. I still believe that the print journalism in India is still far better than the TV journalism. But since TV creates narrative,
Right.
TV has become very powerful. It's a monster which lives in its own world, and it's a visual medium. So
Yeah.
in the television channel, in the television journalism, others were not asking questions. That was the problem, and he was probably one of the few who asked questions, who never minced his words.
Right.
So when nobody was asking question, if somebody just stood that this is my dharma and I have to do it, and he did it, and he faced a lot of consequences. It's not that he didn't face consequences; he faced consequences. But then I never believed that he did some great investigative journalism. I think he never did it. He never did it. Uh, uh, he never managed a newsroom in the classical sense. But he could say what he wanted to say, and when nobody was saying.
Right. To conclude, given your background both in journalism as well as in politics, how do you look at, say, the next 15, 20 years in terms of the social and cultural ruptures that have come in the last 10 years or so? Are you hopeful? Do you think these can be repaired? Where do you come down on that?
I think it's a sad situation. The similar rupture happened in 1947 too. But India was fortunate to have great leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru. There were great leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru, like Patel, Rajendra Prasad, the galaxy of leaders who were trained by Mahatma Gandhi. So if we all remember that the first parliamentary election in 1951-52, uh, Mr. Nehru had problems with the Hindutva, had a serious problem with Hindutva within the party and outside the party. And he basically made the first election as a referendum on the communal politics. And he successfully did it. And that's one reason that one sadhu was sadhu was contesting against him as a candidate. And so what what is a problematic right now is it's not that the rupture has taken place in a dynamic society. Such ruptures are not rare because the society is moving. So when society is moving, ruptures are possible. But who is going to show path? Where is that charismatic leader who can who can uh, 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 who can look into the eyes of the people and say, look, you people are committing a mistake. The Gandhi had that guts. He could go to West Bengal and tell people that you are committing mistake. Whether you are a Hindu or a Muslim, if you are a fanatic, if you are taking others' life, then you are committing mistake, and I am willing to put my life in danger. Nehru could do it, and he did it. Gandhi and Nehru could did. Where is Gandhi and where is Nehru today? And in their absence, there is a total anarchy now. There's a total anarchy. So, though as the crisis has uncanny habit of creating
Right.
the leaders who can stand up and can take a different path altogether. But as of now, I don't see that leadership in my vicinity, and that's the sad part of it. And it is because of that I'm little pessimistic, because I was very optimistic in 2000, before 2014, when people used to say, and I also was a firm believer that Mr. Narendra Modi succeeded in Gujarat. Whether he will succeed outside Gujarat, I used to believe that no, he will not succeed, but he succeeded.
Right.
So uh, so and the fault lines which has been created in the last few years, these are serious fault lines, and you need a man of great vision, great commitment, great conviction, and great believer in universal values. If he or she emerges, probably we'll have a much we'll have a we'll have a solution sooner. But if doesn't, then this problem is going to remain there. But one thing is, I'm very sure about it, that BJP and the RSS, even if they lose elections, they will remain a formidable force, and they will. So let's not ignore uh, their. Mm, it's not that a few people believe that Mr. Narendra Modi is not there tomorrow, then the problem will be sorted out. No, I don't believe that. The problem is not with the man himself. The problem is with the ideology.
Right.
And if that ideology is there, an ideology which has mastered the art of propaganda, and master the art of organizing people, it will remain a formidable force, whether they capture power at the center or they are not.
On that note, Ashutosh, I want to thank you very much for your time. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope you did too.